Yo, man, listen. I previously did a video pertaining to the whole skit situation that we're dealing with right now, and this video I just really want to put out there to the family, just to understand the idea of black commitment. I feel like a lot of the times we don't stimulate the idea of Nubian commitment, indigenous commitment, melanated commitment, hue melanin commitment. Okay, not the fails for the semantics, not the contrite compromise of thought that stimulates the idea of this whole utopia, to which end we find ourselves more so on the end of being disenfranchised, discombobulated, and divided from the source contact of who and what we truly are as an indigenous phenotypic structured people on planet Earth. Broad nose, big lips, kinky, curly coils, non-ether, spiraling to the heavens. Afro, similar to the similitude of a broccoli branch or a tree that you see around you. All things of green life that reflect our embodiment as they should, because they are connected to us as we are connected to they. And yes, I say they as it is an embodiment of life. When you're talking about nature, you're talking about plants, you're talking about the envelopment of all things synchronized within this reality. If anything is to be called it's to be called the parasite. It's become the vermin. It's to be called the vampire that is sucking us dry on this planet. Now, I see this whole push right now. It's kind of crazy how we don't have a commitment to one another. I mean, a lot of people have been asking about this whole situation with the Chris Brown scandal going on. And I'll tell you this, I definitely do want to touch on that myself, because a lot of people kind of miss the ball many times over as it pertains to the subtle terrain modification to your mind and what exactly these European powers are trying to do and influence and imbue into your psychology as a black man or black woman on the soils of North America or even abroad upon a global mass, right? When you talking about this whole Chris Brown situation, it wasn't about any type of truth and allegation, faultyhood and allegation. What it was to stimulate was to understand that it doesn't matter if it was a fucking myth. It doesn't matter how true or how false or falsified the storyline or the agenda may find itself to be. They don't gotta ask no questions. At the end of the day, they gonna hold each other down. Especially if you touch on one about women. It don't matter. We come in with helicopters. We come in at your lobby. You could be rich. You could be poor. You could be middle class. Your rationale to feel as if your leveraging point is the monetary gain that you could find in a capitalistic construct that is stimulated and foundationalized by the European system at hand, that is ployed and focused on the upliftment of themselves while depriving others of the same free liberties, which is also why you would even chain react this sentiment into a Colin Kaepernick, who would choose to sit down during a Pledge of Allegiance. Why is black people in the first place even supporting the Pledge of Allegiance? Why? Because you feel you got more money, you got more incentive? Don't you see? When you find a day, when you wake up, when you find that one day, when you finally hit that striking point in your heart, where you say, man, that last black woman to get wrangled and strangled and manhandled down to the ground was too much. That last brother to find a bullet in his back while his hand was up, not provoking the incentive of his death or his life being taken from him, that's going to be too much. When that moment comes, when that old lady is maced, your grandmother is maced in the face, abuse to the powers at that be. When that time comes into your reality as a black man who finds himself wealthy, as a black woman who finds herself in the wealthier bracket because you find yourself in a percentage of leverage, of cash, you think you got the flow. You find when you choose to stand up for your own free liberties, for your own First Amendment, your own freedom of speech, your sovereign capacity to utter what is on your heart of expression, you'll find it will then be you who gets burned and chastised by this white society. And then who you gonna look to have your back? Because the white people clearly ain't gonna have your back because they don't understand your plight. They don't see how it has been repetitively being done for 400 years extended. This ain't a 2016 issue, a 2015 issue, a 2014 issue. This is a century-based issue across the globe. There's no place this white man has gone. White woman has gone. See, a lot of black men try to disassociate white women from the whole agenda scheme of a white man, of white supremacy. They're in it together, white woman, man, and child. They perpetuate the agenda of genetic expression to survive on this planet. They may not all be malice in their attempt to survive on this planet, but when they try to block out the sun or they agree with chemtrails and geoengineering being deployed on a social construct, minus the heavy toxic minerals or metals like a mercury or aluminum that toxify or pollute the skies in which we breathe. They may have layers to how they want these things to be deployed, but trust me, they definitely agree with the agenda of something like so abundant as the sunlight. No longer have something so abundant as sunlight to be stopped in this tract of sustenance, because it goes against the genetic expression of their ability to thrive. You call it melanoma, you call it skin cancer, you call it an adverse effect by way of nature's ways, nature's intention. Narrow noses, so they take in less oxygen because certain levels of chlorophylllic structure move in contrast to who and what they are immensely. This is their survival. This is why Nubian Commitment is your thrival. You cannot rely on their ability to change the circumstances in the favor of their deprivation. For them to play to your better half, they have to sacrifice their better half, which they're not going to do. You cannot have a healthier paradigm, which is why they have to take out our herbal leaders like a Dr. Sebi of our power. They have to take these things out of the equation. Why? Because you emit that which is the sun. We don't protect ourselves from the sun. We take in sunlight. We are ultraviolet gamma ray extrapolations of that which we take in sustenance. When you find yourself vitamin D deficient in the northern hemisphere of the planet, you find yourself credence and cradled to the nature aspect of environment, chlorophyll, sunlight. You groom to the atmosphere, so that sunlight embeds within your DNA. So when you're feeling good, you're feeling jovial as a black man or a black woman, you literally give off the same radiation, UVB, and UVC radiations that then inhibit their potential to feel comfortable. This is why when you're happy and you're revolutionary, you stand up for who you are and your conviction, it makes them feel uncomfortable naturally. It's a nature of theirs to feel uncomfortable when you feel good because you give off the same emission of the sun. And they're allergic to the sun because you absorb the sun. And when you're healthy and you feel good, you give off the sun. You are light beings. So they cannot go against their ability to thrive, which is why you have to be at your demise, which is why you are your only savior, black man and black woman. They constantly stand up for themselves, their own, point blank, period. They never question it, not for a second. That's what they keep showing you time and time again. They could shoot up a whole church and create a millionaire situation out of it. Yeah. They could rape, pillage, castrate the inception of their beginnings and still have you put your right hand over your heart and pledge to their allegiance. Now, a lot of people wonder what it is that hinders us from truly moving forward as a people, as indigenous Nubian people, phenotypically structured to this black cloak. A lot of it is the fact that we have an inability to understand the source and the substance of knowledge, for one. Knowledge itself is definitely a deprived level of our cognitive function that enables us to really have a certain level of commitment towards one another. That's one. But also, two, there's an aspect of not feeling as if we could really do things as other people have done in this day and time. Because we try to connect the dots to the knowledge of who and what you once were, we try to let you know that you can also too not only recalibrate the facilitations of social luxuries and normalities that you groomed to in the society that Europeans seem in an illusionary ploy to have created. You can create that situation and then better and then more. We are here complaining about the Colin Kaepernicks and all the other revolutionary moguls in the entertainment sector of life that make a stance for themselves. But instead of all these NBA and NFL and sports league engineers, right? I call them engineers because they create such a platform of how they're able to display their abilities before they actually pull their funds together, which will be beyond the billions of dollars of investment capital, to go back home to Africa and create an NFL situation, create an NBA situation. Why don't we want to insurrect our own stimuluses of how we could thrive in our societies? We're watching different things of a scramble of Africa take place. Young African women fighting to be African in Africa. What kind of situation is that? And why are we not having the same level of commitment to invest within the substance of life as every other race is? Right now, the Chinese, the French, the United States, and all these other people is scrambling for Africa in the 2016 style by way of investments and backhand compliments and backhand loans. All these open lines of credit that wherever the money goes, the intention flows. And the intention is never in the best interest and suit and pleasurement of African indigenous people. So why not invest your high levels of capital into creating a situation in your motherland? You see that it's a dilapidated situation, but you think you don't have the ingenuity and the creativity to spark an inception